I think I kind of ruined the illusion that I'm sitting up here. I didn't get to come out from behind a curtain or anything here, but I'm really pumped, guys, to be here at the 73rd Annual NIADA and NABD Convention. My name is David Gavin, and I talk to dealers across the country every single day about Facebook advertising. One of the biggest things when we have conversations is it's not necessarily the lack of understanding. At our company, we can educate most dealers in about 30 minutes about what's important, how it kind of works. The biggest concern is the amount of misinformation. It's the internet, right? Too much information. What's good, what's bad, how do I understand? And it's perpetuated by a really seemingly complex platform. And Facebook, as you guys know, is constantly changing. So I'm not going to make everybody, unfortunately, in this room experts on Facebook advertising by the end of this talk. But the idea is to at least inform you guys well enough to where you don't get taken to the cleaners by some 18-year-old with a cell phone plan and a laptop, right? So what I'd like to do is I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit. I feel like this is really... I'm glad this is a smaller group because I feel like we could talk one-on-one. So I want to do some Q&A at the end. And you guys can ask me your direct questions about platform-specific questions, tech questions. But really to kind of get started, I had a dealer right after they signed up for our services. He called me, and if he's in the room, I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you. But he called me and he asked me, he said, hey, we've got this button on our Facebook page, and we're paying a vendor $250 a month for this button. And he said, is that too much? And he'd been paying this vendor $250 for probably 6 months, 7 months. And so there's this button, guys, in case you don't know, there's a button on your Facebook business page where you can type in, like get quote, send message so people can contact you and have a conversation with you. And in case you guys don't know, the button is free. It's a free button. It's provided by Facebook. But the point of that story is, when you go to conventions like this NIADA and this NABD convention, is to take what you learn. The whole point of this is to become educated, whether it's a platform, whether it's a product, whether it's a vendor, is to take that information home, dissect it, segment it, and figure out what your button is. Because everybody in this room, including myself, including the processes at 13 Leads in our business, we all have a button. And it could be costing us $250 a month, right? $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month. Ignorance is really bliss until your credit card gets declined. So use this education, take it back, make the changes you need to make. So not only do I want to educate you, but, I kind of want to get a feel for the room, and I feel like we have a little bit of time to do this. If you don't have a personal Facebook page, a personal, not business, but a personal Facebook, raise your hand. I'm not going to point you out. Raise it high so I can see it. Okay, so the majority of you have a personal Facebook page. And I ask you guys this because when we talk to a lot of dealers, that's one of my first questions when I talk to a dealer owner or salespeople. I say, do you have a personal Facebook page? And I want to talk about mindset. One of the biggest, and I'm talking about hundreds of dealers, thousands of dealers I've talked to, and one of the biggest things that blows my mind is when I say, hey, look, you need to sign up for a Facebook page. They're worried about their popularity. They say, I'm really worried. They don't say this, but this is what they're telling me. I'm really worried about everybody that's going to, friend me from my high school days. I'm really worried about everybody that's going to come out of the woodwork, my family members, my cousins that's in jail and just got out yesterday, right? They're going to come out of the woodwork, and they're going to message me. When you hire a new salesperson, if you're an owner in this room, they take on a Girl Scout mentality, right? Who do they typically sell first? Family, friends. It's the first people they sell. Why? Well, they're not pounding them. They're not saying, buy a car, buy a car, buy a car. What they're saying is, hey, look, this is a thing I'm doing now. If you're interested, come by and see me. And it works. New salespeople, they might not sell cars for a long time, right? But usually they sell a couple. That might be a business model in itself, just rotate them in and out, right? But they might sell a couple. But that mentality works. That Girl Scout mentality of, I'm just going to let people know what I'm doing. I hate to break it to you guys, but if you're worried about how popular you're going to be on Facebook, you're in the wrong industry. This is a social business. Matter of fact, if you remove social, one of the big conversations, I'm sure it's happened at convention, and when I'm talking to my colleagues and my friends and other business owners, including dealers, is what does the future look like with technology? And I'll tell you, if you remove social from your business model will be removed from the market. Period. When robots take jobs, they take jobs that don't require problem solving and troubleshooting. They take the jobs that don't involve creativity and socialization. Those are the jobs that go away. If you go to Subway in my town of 70,000 people, you don't even order with a person anymore. And I don't live in a big community. I live in central Kansas, guys. We're like the last to get anything. You don't order from a person. Why? They're saying the person was so bad at taking sandwich orders that a robot could do it better. So I want you to think about that in your business and think about that with your people and the way that you present yourself and how you talk to people. Could a robot do what you do in your business better than you? If the answer is yes, start working on an exit plan because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. The second one is distraction. Dealers are worried, I don't need another distraction, and I get it. There's a lot going on. There's a billion things that have been talked about at convention that we understand that's going to go over my head. We get home, we try to figure out what to work on, what's going on. But just remember, guys, if you think people and communication is a distraction in your business, yet again, your business model will be removed from the market. It is all about social. If you guys feel like you missed the boat, we talk to a lot of dealers and they say, I feel like I missed the boat with Facebook, and we'll get into it. And they say, well, how am I going to do this? Number one, every single system, and this is not just Facebook, but most systems, most platforms, they're piggybacked off another platform. Cameras, they get better and better and better, right? Social media is in an infancy stage right now. It's growing, but it's going to piggyback off what has already been built. You didn't miss the boat if you get started. One of the biggest concerns is, missing the boat. But then we talk about early adopters online a lot. That's the word gets thrown around. If you're online, you're talking about social media marketing. Early adopters. People that are seemingly first to break through on a platform. They figured it all out, so to speak. How does this happen? How do you figure it out? What makes a platform like Facebook prime real estate for advertising your dealership and advertising a business? And there's really two key components to this. And nobody talks about this. It's two things, data and attention. Those are the two things that matter. I don't care if it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Gurus they're not really even gurus, guys. They're looking for these two things. This is the secret. You have it now. You're welcome. But that's the secret. It's data and attention. What do we mean when we say data? Well, data is what data does the platform take from users, and what data do you have access to? That's data. And then attention is how many, how often, and where. How many, how often, and where. Let's talk about attention. How many? To give you guys some context to this, there's approximately 7.5 billion people on the globe. About 3.2 billion of them have access to the internet, and about 2.1 billion, it's a little bit higher now, and higher now again, if you get more people are signing up, right? About 2.1 billion people have a Facebook account. How often? The average Facebook user is on Facebook 35 minutes a day. I don't know about you, but if I do something for 30 minutes a day, I would consider it routine. Where? Where do people access Facebook? Where don't they access Facebook? This guy's looking down, he might be on Facebook. At work, right? At people's parents' kids' recital. At their kids' recital, people are on Facebook. On stage. I'm just joking. On stage. 56% of users access Facebook while they're on the toilet. Squatty Potty is crushing on Facebook right now. That's the point of this. So we talk about attention. Let's talk about data. So I love this part. When you sign up for Facebook, and those of us that have signed up, the new ones, you'll welcome to the team, right? When you sign up for Facebook, you sign up with 2 data points. First data point, typically a mobile phone number, right? Your phone number. They want to know what your phone number is, and they want to know what your personal email. Some people use work email, but the majority of people use their personal email. Remember, it's a social platform, it's a personal platform. So these are the two things you sign up. Then you tell Facebook, this is where I work, this is where I live. Then you join pages, you like groups, you join groups. You tell Facebook what your hobbies are, what you're interested in, what you talk about, what you think about. Then with your geo-tracking, your location, your GPS, you tell Facebook your routine, where you go, where you shop, everything about what you do in a day. It's crazy. It's collecting all this data, guys. All of these things that you're doing, Facebook is tracking all these things. And this is the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about the Facebook pixel. It's probably one of the easiest things to understand and one of the most misunderstood of how it actually works. The Facebook pixel is a free piece of code. And it essentially is on almost every website, every app that you use. And what does the pixel do? The pixel is essentially Facebook's tattletale. It tells Facebook what you search, what you look at, how long you visit a web page, what you watch. Guys, when you watch Hulu or Netflix, that feeds back to Facebook. All of these things feed back to Facebook, like rivers to the ocean that is Facebook, right? So Facebook is tracking all of this data, and they're utilizing it. Matter of fact, there's about 52,000 user traits that Facebook tracks. 52,000. I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't sit on the stage and tell you 52,000 things about myself. And since we're in Vegas, I'd be a betting man. After I talk, I'd give anybody $1,000 that could stand up here and do that. But that's how the information that it's tracking. So as dealers, we know all this information is there now. How do we utilize it? What should we do and what should we be doing? Well, I would say probably the first thing you should do is put a Facebook pixel on your website. Get a business manager account, put a pixel on your website. Why? Well, we want to also track what's going on our website, right? So not only can we track web traffic and people that are visiting our web page, what actions are they taking when they land on our web page, but what it allows us to do is it allows us to retarget people that land on our website, that take specific actions. Why is that important? Basically how it works is if I go to your website, I look at your cars, you can serve an ad back to me when I get back on the Facebook platform. Now, the fact that we know that 2.1 billion people are accessing the platform, and the fact that most people use Facebook about 35 minutes a day, there's a good chance I'm going to see your ad, right? So not only can we retarget them back on the platform based on their website traffic using the pixel, guys, it's completely free. It is completely free. You don't have to pay for it, so don't pay anybody for it. Matter of fact, if all you do is get a business manager account, get your pixel, send it to your website provider. We do this for our clients, but send it to your website provider. If they can't place a pixel on your website, fire them. It's literally the easiest thing you can do. Let them go. They're not worth it, guys. So we're talking a little bit about the pixel. How does that work? Retargeting people. What's the power of that? And the power is top of mind. You're staying in front of a customer. You're engaging a customer. That is the power of retargeting. I'd rather tell you a story about the power of retargeting. I'm glad this is dealers that I'm talking to. So Sirius XM radio, right? When you buy a car, new cars, when you buy new cars or some of your cars, my car had a 3-month free Sirius XM radio subscription. That's what I got. And I let it lapse, right? It went through and it lapsed. And about 2 weeks after it lapsed, I get a letter in the mail from Sirius. And Sirius says, hey, for $200 a month, or for $200 a year, excuse me, you can have a year of our radio services, premium, everything. So I was like, man, that's a pretty good deal, $200. And my girlfriend's like, nah, don't do it. They're just, they're trying to get you. You can probably get lower. So I waited a little bit and kind of wanted to experiment, like how low could we go, right? Like it's limbo. So how low could we go? And then about 2 weeks later, I get another letter in the mail, right? And this time it's $100. $100 for a year, and we'll give you a Sirius XM premium. It's like, man, that's pretty good, but I'm going to hold out one more time. I'm getting somewhere with this, guys, right? So I wait about a couple more weeks, and I get another letter in the mail, and it's $60. $60 for a year. And I was like, wow, that's the power of retargeting, right? They kept retargeting me, offering. And they knew most likely, at least I already had some brand awareness, right? They know I'm listening to it, at least. I bought the car. It's provided for free. If given the option FM or satellite, I'm probably going to choose satellite. So guys, the point isn't that you're just staying in front of your customers and you're offering them different incentives and you can retarget them and re-engage them and offer them things that they're most likely interested in. Remember, they were on your website. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to assume, hey, look, if somebody's on your website looking at cars, they're probably in the market to buy a car, right? Most people don't just go to websites willy-nilly. So not only are you staying top of mind, but the point is, not that Sirius just got a $60 customer for a year, because how much money is that, right? It costs a lot, I'm sure, to keep that satellite flying through the air. But they did it because I'm telling all of you that I got Sirius for a year for $60. And the other 500 people I've said, well, I got Sirius for a year for $60. That, marketing-wise, destroys them taking their price down $140. I doubt they missed $140 a year that it cost them, right? They're making money on my 60. It's all the other people I told that has signed up for Sirius. And I know there's people, I've got buddies that are like, man, I got this $60 deal. I'm like, sweet. Power of retargeting, right? So not only does retargeting work on the side of, we're retargeting website visitors, we're looking at, how they're engaging, their analytics on the website. But I would say one of the bigger points is a CRM and DMS. You guys are already sitting on what I would consider a gold mine of user data. How many people in this room have, raise your hand, by show of hands, how many people in this room have a CRM and DMS? Raise your hand. Someone went down really quick. If you don't, get one. There are plenty of people, vendors, that are selling CRM and DMS services, and you should let them take your money. And the reason you should is because it gives you data. Why is this data so important? Well, let's talk about Facebook, but this works on really any social media, the majority of social media platforms when we're talking about targeting. There are essentially two events that most people take place in now, right? And in the future, offline or reality or virtual and online. These are essentially the two types of events you can take place in. So we know the pixel solves the problem when we're talking virtual and online. How do we solve the problem with offline? CRM and DMS. And here's how that works. When a customer calls you or they come onto your car lot, what do you get typically? You want contact information, right? So you get a mobile phone number and hopefully an email. Why would these be important for advertising on Facebook? Well, if you guys remember when we said how you sign up for Facebook is with what? Mobile phone number and email, right? So when you take the CRM data, you put it into Facebook. The first thing Facebook does is says, hey, let us cross-reference our entire user base to see if this phone number matches an account on Facebook. And not only are they looking for the mobile phone number that someone signed up with, but have you ever you see those things, they're called two-factor authentication. They ask for your phone number for security purposes. You guys think that's just for security? Maybe it's also to get a secondary phone number for you, for advertisers, right? So now it's not only searching for that two-fact phone number, it's also searching for the phone number you signed up for or the email. This is why it's extremely important for your salespeople to collect good phone numbers that somebody's actively using that would most likely sign up for Facebook or a social media platform or a personal email. Most people don't sign up for Facebook with a work email, and it's kind of actually difficult to sign up for Facebook with a work email. Typically works a little bit better. So now you can market to your offline leads and retarget your offline leads, people that called you on the phone, people that came into your business. I had a dealer ask me, he said, why would I pay money to market to leads I already have? Last time I checked, guys, leads do not pay your bills. We need sales. Why wouldn't you capitalize on the data that you're already paying for? I will tell you, getting a new lead costs a lot more money than retargeting. Retargeting acquisition is typically half the cost of trying to guess who is in market to buy a car. They literally came onto your car lot. Not only is offline retargeting better than online retargeting, but why is it better? Because they are actively going to the car lot. They're not just researching online anymore, right? They're actively visiting your car lot. So you can input that information and you can retarget these people as well. What about, let's be thoughtful here, right? What about retargeting people that purchased a car that we know are now in equity and offering them an instant trade-in evaluation or some type of incentive to trade their car back in, right? So what we're talking about is being thoughtful. So not only can we market back to the online and the real world, we can also exclude people who we're marketing to. Anybody else got this bracelet on? Or am I the only one that got on the strip? Okay. So these ladies come in, they try to sell you these bracelets, right? And I was like, yeah. I'm a sucker for helping people. So I was like, here's a couple bucks, and I gave her it. I'll tell you, every time I walked up and down the strip, they kept coming back up to me. And they're like, hey, you want to, because I'm passive enough to give them money. So they kept coming, and I would say, oh, no, thank you, I've got the bracelet, right? How do you think I felt when they kept doing that? It's kind of annoying, right? It's like, hey, I already paid you, and if you were thoughtful enough to look at my wrist, you could see that I already bought something from you. So not only can we retarget people, but we can exclude people that purchased. Why would we want to keep showing people that bought cars yesterday from us the same type of advertising we would show to a prospect, right? It's called being thoughtful. We don't have to go crazy with it. We just have to be thoughtful enough to say, where is our money going? How does it work? So not only are we talking about retargeting, we covered the pixel a little bit. Let's talk about tracking. There is a huge lack, and I've seen this in this industry, almost more so than any industry I've ever been involved in, with transparency in where your ad dollars go, right? So where is your money going when you pay a vendor? On Facebook, you can take your DMS data, and as long as you have a good mobile phone number, right, that matches a user's account that did business with you, or a good email, you can input that into Facebook in what's called an offline event, right? It happened in the real world. It's not an attribution, and I'll get there. It happened online. It's something that happened in the real world. People aren't buying your products online unless you're selling, tires or some type of service product. Most people aren't buying their car online. So we put that into Facebook, and what Facebook will do is say, okay, you had these sales, and it cross-references those, again, with users on Facebook. And then what it does is it cross-references all of the ads that you've ran within whatever duration you're looking at. And what does that tell us? Why is that important? Because Facebook will then report back to us what sales are attributed to the literal ads that you're running. Look, guys, acquisition cost and attribution is the only thing that matters when we're talking about advertising. How much did it cost me to get a customer, right? And then how much money did I make when I sold a customer? If we don't have good CRM and DMS data to put into Facebook to figure this information out, it not only puts you at a disadvantage, but if you hire a vendor to do your advertising, it puts them at a disadvantage. The only thing that matters is sales. If you demand this from your vendors, then you should be thoughtful enough to have your people put it into a system that you can measure it with. Because I'll tell you, I've talked to so many dealers that literally get calls from vendors and third parties that last month it was $2,000 for you to advertise. This month it is $4,000 for you to advertise. And your next question shouldn't be, how do I pay you, credit card or check? It should be, how did this go from $2,000 to $4,000? Because I'm in marketing, and when you scale marketing and you scale advertising dollars, you do it based on units sold. How do we know what's working and what doesn't work if we can't attribute it to what we're doing? So again, not only does it put you at a disadvantage of not knowing where to put your money, but it puts the advertiser at a disadvantage to not know where we're putting your money. If we have 5 different ads that we're running, and you sell 5 cars off one and one and one and one, wouldn't it make sense as an advertiser for us to take your money and put it behind the winning ad set, right? And behind the ad that's really crushing and doing really well? What I'm saying is this: demand more as long as you're providing this data or the data is accessible to your vendors. Demand more from your vendors. Demand to see a number. What is this costing me? What is an acquisition cost? How much does it cost me to sell a car on your platform? And I don't want an average of what it costs everybody else. We've been with you 90 days. We've been with you 180 days. What does it cost for us to sell a car? That's the questions you need to be asking. And I'm telling you, if they don't tell you that number, there's only one of 2 reasons why they wouldn't tell you that. Number one, we don't want to tell you because it's costing a lot, right? We can't ask you for more money if you know that number. And the other secondary, which is worse, is we don't know how to tell you that. That means we don't have a system in place to tell you where your money goes. We're just making a guess. I don't know about your businesses, but in mine, I don't like to guess where my money's going. I would kind of like to know where my money's going. So we talked about the pixel, we talked about retargeting, we talked about tracking, knowing literally every dollar that you spend, where it goes, what it accounts for, where it comes from, what it turns into. I've probably saved, in my opinion, probably one of the most key pieces, or one of the most important pieces to me for last, and that is content. This is a pretty small stage, but if I were to slip and fall off of it, you guys recorded it, it would have more views on Facebook than anything happening at this convention. No offense in NIADA if anybody's in the room. If I brought my pug to Vegas and put an Elvis wig on him and drove him around town, right, 1 million views on Facebook. And what is the point of that? What's the purpose of me telling you this? The purpose of it is because if that was the front page of the newspaper, no one would care, right? Facebook is not the newspaper. It's not the same. When businesses go to Facebook, they bring all of their habits to Facebook. They say, let's run 100 inventory ads. Let's run this. Let's run this. And I'll be honest with you guys, we do it for clients because that's the content we get. You gotta use what you get, right? But it is absolutely not the same. I'm sure at convention, and I know at past conventions as well, there's a lot of talk about trust and consumer trust. We talk about it all the time. People don't trust dealers. We're worried about this. How do we overcome this? Facebook and social media is literally a two-way conversation. You can offer people and consumers a peek behind the curtain. It's never been easier to gain trust in your industry than right now. Who is educating your consumers? I know that Ken Shilson, because I ran ads for him, Ken Shilson talked about accountability, right? Are we not accountable to educate our consumers, to gain consumer trust, to show them the work we put in? See, Facebook relies less on what you do, but more why you do what you do and how you do what you do. And the great news is it's not the newspaper. It's not the Super Bowl that costs, $50 million to put an advertisement in it. It's Facebook. If you've got a phone, which I would guess most of you do, you've got a video camera. You've got a keyboard. You literally, in your pocket, have everything it takes to change consumers' behavior, your local authority. You have all of the power in the world to do all of this. Matter of fact, it's better to do it this way. Because Facebook is not commercial, guys. Facebook is social. It is better to use your phone than to pay $50,000 to have a commercial produced. You hear the word organic. We want to see real content. Look how fake reality TV is getting. And in my opinion, it's probably one of the reasons why it's starting to fail. And Netflix is taking over. Because it's not real. And we all know it. We want to see real things. In psychology, there's something called the false consensus effect or cognitive bias. And essentially what that means is a lot of us think, the majority of people think the way we think. They believe the way we believe. They share the same opinions, beliefs, all of these things. That is nowhere further from the truth. You guys know so much about how to buy cars, how to buy the right car, how to recondition cars, how to trade in a car. You guys know everything about the car buying process, yet you don't inform car buyers about any of it. They don't know what you know. You guys are unique. Everyone in this room is unique. You have unique understandings and intellect in areas that most people do not have. All you have to do is share it. The flip side of this is not only do you have the opportunity to share this information, you've got a mobile phone, so you can definitely put the information out there, but it's a way for you guys to start showing people, not just telling people, but showing people. For example, how thoughtful would it be to, instead of telling somebody, hey, look, this car's got a lot of space, you can fit a couple strollers in here, take your cell phone out. Take your cell phone out of your pocket and make a video comparing cars. How easy is it to get a stroller in? How easy is it to put a car seat in? What are the safety features in this car? And then target that ad to new parents, or target that ad to parents. That's not very thoughtful. Take you 30 minutes. 30 minutes to make that video. Do it off the cuff. Don't script it. Try them out. By the way, you're not manufacturing cars, so it's okay to be a real person and say, hey, I don't like this about this car, right? Because not every car is for everybody. Not everybody comes on your lot to buy a truck. Some people buy vans. Some people buy cars, right? So not only do we have this opportunity to show and really a glimpse behind the curtain, but I think a lot of people are afraid that, look, guys, there literally is nothing, there is nothing that sacred about car dealerships. I can literally Google 99% of what you do. Not why you do what you do, but what you do. I can find invoice prices. I can get trade-in values. All of this information is at my fingertips, period. If you guys are worried about showing the consumer your processes probably aren't that good. A peek behind the curtain means a real peek. And the good news is if you start filming and you start doing these things and you start showing people what makes you different, this is what we do. There was a point, I don't know if you're still at that point, but if you're at that point where you're like, man, I'm really happy to help people. If you're still at that point, start filming today. Because that's why we do it. Money is the byproduct of what we're doing. So not only can we show everybody this, but this helps us become authorities in our local market. We're doing it on a platform where people are paying attention. And I would say this is more important than any of these tools. Retargeting, the pixel, is build really good content. I'm going to give you guys a practical tip here real quick. Write this down if you're taking notes. If you go to facebook.com/ads/library, type your competitor's Facebook page name, and literally you can look at every single one of their ads. Go to their Facebook page, go to the right, scroll down, and click the button that says Page Transparency. You can look at all of their ads. Yeah, it's facebook.com/ads/library. Now, I'm telling you that, I can tell you, hey, look, you can go look at all of your competitors' ads. Do it, by the way, you should do it. But I'm going to save you some time and let you know they all look the same. Every single one of them. It's going to be inventory ads. It's going to be newspapers ads on Facebook. It's what they run. Because they're so worried about taking a video on their car lot with their salespeople. Look, when I talk to a dealer and I say, hey, you guys got a cell phone, who has the most charisma? Who's really excited to be there out of your salespeople? And they say, well, I don't know that I really have somebody like that. You probably don't have that good of a team if you're worried about putting your team online. And here's the reason why. You put your team on the front line every day to talk to people. And you're worried about how they're going to come across online for your own business. They're already doing it, guys. So the point is, look at your team, look at these things, look at how they're talking to people, be social. Don't try to sell people all the time, guys. It's not being in the long game. It's called being a human being game. Have a conversation, share something about your business, teach people something, care. What I'm saying is Facebook is not every other platform that you're using. It's different. And the people that are winning make great content. It's the difference. We have all the tools in the world. The targeting, we see it all the time, guys. We see people that have a struggle on the platform. We see people that crush on the platform. And it all comes down to what content. Everything else is just a tool that helps us do our job better, but content is the only differentiating factor of success and failure, period. That's it. I'm essentially going to leave you with this. At the end of the day, Facebook is show and tell. If you want to be the best, prove it. Show up and do the work. All right, we'll open it up to the floor for some questions. You guys can just raise your hand. Yeah. Yeah. So the first thing I'll do is have a conversation like this, right? We want to figure out what you're doing right now, where you're advertising. We would look at your competitors. We would talk to you about offers. What type of offers do you have? What differentiates you? And a lot of people will say, we have good customer service. Well, it's hard to quantify good customer service, right? Everybody says that. So one of the first things we're going to do is figure out what makes you guys, why you do what you do. What makes you different than everybody else. And then we start talking about content. And we'll talk about ideas and what the next step is. We set up the Facebook pixel We set up your business manager account. We do all the technical stuff. And we can talk a little bit more as far as the specifics if you want to talk to me afterward about exactly what we do for dealers. But really what we do is, we help establish what audiences work for them, how to get the lowest acquisition cost to actually sell a car possible, and then help scale their advertising. And we do it extremely cheap. But let's talk outside. I don't want to pitch my company too much because I really just want to keep it more questions focused on either the platform or advertising. Yeah. Yeah, so my role in reviews on Facebook, I think that the more you can control, and this might be, more of a business owner thought, I guess, is the more you can obviously control a review, the better. And what I mean by that is the best time to get a review is obviously between a customer buying a car, right, and actually spending paper when they're really excited, not after F&I. In my opinion, I think video reviews should be used as much as possible. And the reason why I think this, guys, is because video in the hierarchy, I can give you a bunch of stats, but I don't want to bore you to death. But video online holds the hierarchy. It is king online. And the good thing about doing video reviews anywhere, no matter where you do them, the good thing about doing video reviews is you can repurpose them for any purpose. You can use them on your website. You can use them on your Facebook ads. So they have multiple purposes. If you're just doing a text review, I think utilizing, either there's a lot of vendors that can do cross-platform reviews. They can post in several different places. If you're pushing really heavy on Facebook, I would say put it on Facebook, but I think it's nice to have it on your website. Website, I would love to see more video. I would love to see more video reviews. I think it just puts a face, some clients that I met here is the first time I've met them face-to-face, and it just changes the way you look at people and the way you do business, right? So I think that the visualization piece might be a little bit easier to do the video on Facebook. And that's my opinion. Thanks. Yep. Yeah. Or running an ad. Okay. I'm glad you asked me this, yeah. So there's a couple differences between what we do is running ads and boosting posts, okay? One of the big differences is when you boost a post, it's essentially you're making a post on your Facebook page, and then you're putting money behind it to reach more people, right? An ad isn't a post. It can be, which kind of makes it complicated. But an ad runs basically invisible to the page to a targeted audience that you send an ad to. It's not just living on the news feed or just living on your business page. So when we talk about acquisition, sales, return, what is better, boosting posts and then running ads, I would say the primary difference is when you boost a post, there's a couple issues or I guess tools that you lack that running ads have in the ads manager. One of those is the objectives. So when you run an ad on Facebook, Facebook essentially asks you what is your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get traffic to your website? Are you trying to get messages? Are you trying to grow some brand awareness and just reach a bunch of people? On a boosted post, you have limited objectives. There's only a couple objectives that Facebook will actually give you. On the ads manager, you have a lot more options. Why do the objectives matter? I don't want to get too geeky into the algorithm of how Facebook decides who to serve ads to. But essentially, when you tell Facebook, I want traffic from this audience, Facebook, with its algorithm, tries to figure out who in this audience is most likely to do whatever your objective or your goal is. So are they more likely, this audience, to click a button? Are they more likely to send a message? Are they more likely to look at my ad and remember it 2 days from now? It's called ad recall lift. So the objectives are different. There's a lot more objectives in the ads manager. The other thing is audience and targeting capabilities are much more massive in the ads manager than they are. Yep. Really where the boosted post came from, as well as the call to action buttons, like your shop now and send message. Yep. Really where boosted posts really came from, if anybody in here, if you're a little schooled on Facebook, Facebook did what we call throttling, right? So what happened is it was a social platform. It was invented for us to communicate. And then what did we do as advertisers and businesses? We kind of took over the platform. It's what we do, right? We run stuff. And so we started running ads. And what Facebook said was, whoa, if we just have news feeds of people's personal pages, they're trying to look at their sister and their cousins and their kids, and they're trying to look at all their friends and family things. If it's just a bunch of businesses, we lose all the users. If we lose all the users, we lose all the advertisers. So what they essentially did was they throttled your organic reach, how many people you could reach just by posting something on your Facebook page. So if you have 10,000 followers on your Facebook page, sorry to tell you, you're probably only reaching about 250 of them when you make a post. You can look at it just by scrolling down on your business page. So what Facebook essentially did was, hey, look, you could pay to play. You want to reach more of your audience, you got to pay for it. We're going to throttle your business so we don't ruin the platform for users that are actually using it for social. And so to answer your question long and briefly, run ads, don't boost posts. It's a better option. Yeah. So I would run ads, not boost, but what is the question? What does it cost to acquire a customer? How much should you run an ad for? Can you break it down a little bit? When would I stop running an ad? When it sells or when it's no longer profitable? I mean, yeah. Yeah. Are you reaching the goals you want to reach that way? Yeah, it works differently for everybody. If you have a team that really cares and they're really putting in the time and they're doing it, that's awesome. What I would do, though, and what I would make sure to do if you have salespeople that are running their own personal Facebook page, obviously you want to have a little QC, right? You want a little quality control of what they're putting out in the ether. Does this represent our brand? Just like when they're selling on the lot, right? But the other thing is you should be repurposing their content back to your main page. If not, you're kind of wasting, right? You're going to dwindle down. So what issue have you ran into any issues with that? Go ahead. Yeah, I would just make sure that you're repurposing the content on the main page. And when you have people follow, really push for your salespeople to have them follow the main page as well. Because I know personally when I go car shopping and I look at, a dealer's Facebook page, I don't typically look at their salespeople's page. I'm going to look at the main page. And if there's no content living there, that's an issue. And if you have a salesperson that has 10,000 likes on their own page, but you guys have 500, right? You're starting to really see them take off as a brand, and obviously there's a little bit of a leverage of an authority. If you're a salesperson in here that's doing that, you can probably ask for some more money, right? So it's a good idea just to repurpose the content, and then I would incentivize your salespeople, if you're not, to get people to like your page, as well as to put reviews when they're spending paper, right? If you're not doing that, yeah. Yeah, I see better results from dealers that are making good content than I do inventory ads. Brand awareness is crushed for what we do over inventory carousel ads any day. And it depends, because carousel ads, typically we use those because it's inventory. But if we have really cool content, like let's say we have a 1 minute video, right? 60-second video. If we break each one of those segments into 15 seconds talking about something in a video, that's much more thoughtful. It's kind of interactive instead of just inventory ad. And just to jump on that point real quick with you, buddy, the problem with just running inventory ads is if somebody doesn't want to buy that car, they scroll past your ad. So even if you're running dynamic ads, we can come close to what people want to buy, but that's why content is going to be king over that. Because if we're not putting in front of someone exactly what they want, they move on. So why are we trying to sell people that way? When somebody comes on the car lot and says, hey, I'm looking for this specific truck, do you just let them leave because you don't have it? No, right? But online, that's how people shop. We want to see what we want to see. I'd rather know about you and what you're going to do for me when I come on your car lot than do you have a specific car? I hope that answered your question. Cool. Other questions? Yeah, shoot. Yeah. Versus, yeah. So you're saying if you basically post a long form video, is there something you could do better to repurpose it, change the creative? Yeah, so, yeah, no, I got you. There's no, like, this is a great question. There's no specific formula, right, to making, like, a viral thing, like something really incredible. If there was, I would just give you that. One of the things I know, as far as, like, Facebook, when we scroll, just think about how you use Facebook. When we scroll, we typically look at something for about, 5 seconds, right, if we even look at it that long. So where we really see a drop-off in video on Facebook is about after 3 seconds of video view, which is pretty typical across most platforms. What that tells us is the Facebook user's attention span is very low. The good thing about YouTube is YouTube has a longer attention span. People will watch 2-hour videos on YouTube, right? How-to videos and all those types of videos. So I would say if there's anything you do differently on Facebook than YouTube is remember that micro-content or cutting down your content with just the guts of what you want to push is more important than putting an hour video on. And what I'd really say is once you get really good at creating great content, it's not going to matter if it's 15 seconds or 5 minutes. It's good content's good content. And if it works, it works. But that's when we talk about tracking. If you're not tracking, if you're not paying attention, how do we know? And so the good thing about Facebook, what I would say when you run ads, if you do this on your own, and what we would do is run different versions of the same creative. Run the 10-second, run the 15-second. You guys probably saw a lot of our convention ads. If you're on Facebook, we ran NIADA convention ads. You're probably tired of a lot of them because they ran a lot over and over and over. Yeah. But you're here, so good news. Yeah, but we try different versions of the same creative and different ad copy and just different styles because we got to figure out what works. And so what I would say is go back before we got all jaded as adults and just be creative and say, hey, look, I'm going to try out. Does this work? Does this work? Does this work? And not take it as serious as it has to be 20 seconds or it has to be 30 seconds. But it's a really good question. Hey, guys, so that's it. That's my time. If you guys have questions, I'm going to be hanging out for a little bit. So grab me outside and we'll chat. And I'd love to chat with you. Have a good rest of your time in Vegas. Thanks, guys.